good.
And we're rolling. Everyone in the shot, everyone feeling good?
Feeling great.
It's been a long weekend and a long day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Nate played baseball today?
I did. Well, I didn't play, but I attended the game that I was on the team for.
I'm sure our few viewers are wondering.
What happened?
Yeah, I got challenged last episode that wouldn't look good with it, so I had to prove it to myself and to my friends.
We're still in the debating process on if he proved us right or if he proved us wrong.
So you're saying there's movie news?
Jonathan Majors got arrested.
Okay, yeah, we were talking about it a second ago.
Yeah.
So that's legit.
That's legit. I saw a headline, I didn't read the article, it says he got arrested or something.
He's like in jail.
I'm looking.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I'm telling you, as soon as you get some success,
What did they do? Take Creed 3 out of theaters or what?
Creed 3 and Quantumania.
Physical assault, harassing a woman.
Wow, that's sad.
That is sad. I like him.
He was on the dang
I liked him.
Air Force commercial right now. Just
Just
all
walking around.
Those are crazy commercials.
Yeah.
I think I'm like, what is Jonathan Majors doing in this?
Yeah, that's
I guess with the last name like Majors.
I mean, he's an all-star right now.
Yeah, he was killing it, but
I hope that's like, there's a little bit of nuance to the situation. He's not totally,
yeah.
maybe he's just not a terrible person, just something happened. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's 3 months into 2023. He's already had 2 #1 movies in the box office.
Hopefully
Like that's
these
crazy.
allegations are exaggerated, and of course we don't want him touching anyone, boy or girl, assaulting anyone. But yeah, I definitely thought of him very highly until I heard this news.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Creed 3 yet or no?
I've seen it.
I'm working.
Oh yeah, you're going through
He's
it.
going through the creeds.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I really enjoyed it. I think the best of the franchise since Rocky 2.
Wow.
I think Rocky 2 and Rocky 1 and 2 are like an upper tier by themselves, and then Creed 3 is like
Right
the
there
next
with
best
it.
thing. Not quite on their level, but the tier underneath it, all by itself.
Those movies are also enjoyable.
They're all very enjoyable.
It's very hard not to enjoy yourself.
I'm always surprised when I hear someone says that they don't like the Rocky franchise. It's like, what? You don't like Rocky?
Like we've said, something that you can just put on at any time, at
Yeah.
any part of the movie, like,
Just makes you feel good.
yeah.
Pumps you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great music.
Yeah. We were eating dinner and the Rocky theme song was
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I mean, my mom would tell me stories that my uncles back, like when they were teenagers, would, like they watched Rocky at a point in time, like 15, 16, and got so inspired by the movie that all they did after they got home from school was work out to the Rocky soundtrack. Just all day long, just like all day long. That's all they did.
When I watched The Mighty Ducks for the first time, took like this mat that was in the kitchen, and I'd like, it was like a long rectangle mat, and I'd like act like I was skating on it.
Nice.
And I was like, Dad, I gotta play hockey. I gotta play hockey. And then next morning I woke up.
I didn't want to play
I'll play baseball.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, we gotta do a sports movie at some point.
Absolutely. I've got some on my list, so.
Well, you're next. Do you have
You are next.
the announcement? Save it for the show, but
I don't have the announcement. I thought we'd do it randomized.
you're like pick a random one of yours.
Well,
Do the wheel.
I guess I can pick one.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Well, we're
If you have it by the end of the episode, then show us. But if not, then we go.
Okay.
Yeah. We definitely need to like expand a little bit. 'Cause
Yeah.
This was our 3rd.
We love the crime movies.
Yeah.
We love crime movies.
Yeah, watching this, like, this is very similar to Basic Instinct.
Very similar to Basic
Yeah.
Instinct.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, let's freaking get right into it. This week's movie is Chinatown, 1974. Movie directed by Roman Polanski.
My first one by Polanski.
What?
I've never seen a Polanski
Oh,
movie.
nice. Yes. Starring Jack Nicholson, who is one of my favorite actors. Initial thoughts?
I was really into it in the beginning.
And then...
And then it was just...
we ran into some technical difficulties watching it. It was...
Yeah. But even beyond that, it's like, you know, There was definitely a lot of dragage where it was just kind of.
It's a well-made movie, but it's slow.
Yeah.
There's not much wrong with it, but it's not gonna like have you on the edge of your seat action-wise or.
Yeah. I mean, it had me. It was more like suspense.
Yeah.
Kind of kept me going more than anything. But I really, really enjoyed it. And it was kind of similar to Basic Instinct in the way that like it kept me guessing. You know.
Yeah.
Like.
There we go.
I had no idea what we were like. What I was like. What to expect. You know. Yeah. I really, really enjoyed it. It was my first. Like I haven't seen a movie that old and
yeah, it's kind of refreshing to watch an older movie with, you know, different language and a different setting, even though and it always gets me because that movie was made in '74, but it takes place in the '40s.
I might be like late 30s because it's pre-World War II. Yeah.
So like even then, like even watching it, I had to realize that this is supposed to be earlier than the '70s. Just because.
Yeah. Remind yourself.
I've been trying to watch horror movies recently. Yeah. So it's really interesting to me to watch a movie from '74 that feels like ahead of its time in '74.
Right.
Like it doesn't like this feels more like the movie making ability of like the late '70s or '80s.
Right. Yeah.
So probably changed the game a little bit. But I think that where you guys said it's dragged, I'd say it's more technically correct that like the writing got really boring. I think it's a kind of an average movie writing wise. I wasn't really impressed with any of the dialogue. I was really impressed with the like actual like directing style.
Yeah.
Like I was really impressed with Polanski.
There were some shots.
They were very like my favorite one in the movie is where they're at their old folks' home and Jack Nicholson gets in a fight. That's my favorite scene in the movie because it's like masterfully done.
Yeah.
It's like 3 cuts. There's not a whole lot of cuts in the scene and it looks so natural. Like it looks just like you literally just put a camera and then Jack Nicholson did that.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like acting at all, honestly. Like acting in the sense of like you had to do a camera, like some special camera trick.
Right. Yeah. I agree. And whenever he was by the ocean following what was it?
Mulray,
and he was looking out of his car window.
Oh yeah, the rear view.
Not the rear view, but the side mirror.
Yeah.
And then I thought the binocular shot was cool too.
Those were cool. Yeah.
But I disagree. Some of the writing was kind of boring at times, but a lot of, I don't know if it's the writing or Jack Nicholson's delivery that I really liked. I wrote down a couple of his quotes, and I thought those kind of, made me smile.
The people who star are Polanski and Nicholson. Nicholson gives a really good performance.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, he makes the movie. I mean, without those two people, this movie's not the same.
It wouldn't have been a whole lot. There was no other character besides his character that really popped out at me.
Because the thing that like blew my mind is over most of the movie, he's wearing a bandage on his face.
Yeah.
And he is still like so like you don't want to look away. And if there's a guy in a room with a bandage on, like if I'm wearing a bandage on my face in this podcast right now, it takes up half my face, like people aren't going to look at me.
Yeah.
Or if they're going to look at me, they're going to look at me like some disdain, like what happened to your face?
Yeah.
And you like are captivated by the guy with the face bandage.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
And like I said, his delivery and everything he's in is just so great. I wrote down, to tell you the truth, I lied a little. And then quicker than the wind from a duck's ass.
That was
fun. Yeah. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
I've heard something similar. I've heard 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Oh, okay.
You know what it means?
No.
It's just like, if you see a sheep, like, dude, they shake their tail like all the time.
Interesting.
Like, I'll be back in 2 shakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have paid more attention to the sheep in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. That was a little confusing, and also I wanted to ask you guys this because I don't know if you got it, but the whole screwing like a Chinaman. Did you guys get that?
It was. I think it was an attempt at like
the whole Chinatown. Or?
No, comedic relief. I think the Chinatown theme was very I like the theme of the movie. That's what I wrote. I wrote like 2 paragraphs in my Letterboxd review about what the theme is, and I think it's very set in stone. I think it's like you can interpret it different ways, but I think that one's pretty easily nailed down. The whole screwing like a Chinaman joke is more comedic relief, even though it kind of failed in my opinion. It wasn't creative enough of a story or a joke.
I just don't even really understand it.
Yeah, like the writing, like that's what I'm talking about, how the writing drags.
Yeah.
Like it gets kind of boring in places. Like there's nothing creative being said here. Even though the character, like Jack Nicholson himself, is very like addictive to look at on screen. But it's not like he's saying really anything interesting.
Yeah.
And a lot of movies nowadays, even if they're not comedies, they'll have bits of comedy. And this just had, I mean, I don't know, like you said, if that was an attempt for comedy, but other than that, it was like a really serious movie.
It's a reference to like something in the 70s we don't know of. I mean, I don't. Maybe that was a more popular joke in the 70s.
Yeah,
maybe he misdelivered a popular joke in the 70s. I don't know. Like something. Because sometimes that's the joke, is the misdelivery of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was a lot that I didn't understand. Like besides that joke, there were a couple things like that I just didn't really get. Whenever Mulray was like out and about looking around, and that child on the horse.
Yeah, I at first it confused me, but I got it.
You gotta explain that to me.
Okay, so
I have no idea.
At first, when Jack Nicholson is hired to be private detective, to follow Mulray, he sees him go into all these places, and they're all dry.
Yeah.
He goes to a dried up riverbed. He goes to a dam with no water in it, and then he goes to the ocean. Well, I guess that's the opposite of dry, but all these like water places.
Well, but yeah, where he was dried up because there was like a starfish and everything.
Yes.
And the tide pool, which
you said that he like tide pools.
Yeah, that's another thing in the theme, but I'll come back to that. But Jack Nicholson, later in the movie, after some other things have transpired, he goes to the same exact places. He talks to the child on the horse. He goes to the dried up dam. He goes to the ocean.
Right.
So what I pieced together from that was, and that's when he figures out like what's going on, and then his nose gets cut.
Oh yeah.
So what he's doing is Mulray was investigating himself, the same thing Jack Nicholson was investigating. How does someone drown in this river when there's no water here?
Yeah.
Why is there, like why, and he finally discovered that there's water, they're releasing water in the middle of the night. And he was investigating the same thing Nicholson was. He talked to the child on the horse like, hey, like where's the water?
Yeah, that's another thing, like, how do you come up with that? Like, you're gonna write a movie about how...
It was probably a real problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
I mean, droughts in Los Angeles happen a lot.
Yeah. I guess it's not really... Can't really relate to that as much, but it's just, like, such an interesting topic to, like, base a whole script off of. And, like, basically, you have this... Like, all these government officials and then people, like, landowners, rich guys that are paying off the police officers, and like there's so many moving pieces in this movie, and it was all based around water being released from a dam.
Yeah, and that's why, like, as we said, it wasn't the most exciting thing, but for being about a water crisis, it was like, I mean, I watched it twice in a month, it says something.
Yeah, I enjoyed like the story and everything, even though how bizarre it sounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Like, it wasn't like world was ending scenario. I enjoy a very simple plot to a movie, even though the implications aren't dire. Like, you still are invested in the story. That's impressive. Yeah. Because what I think a lot of people nowadays have done, especially like modern action movies and superhero movies, they've turned into, if you want the audience to care, like, your stakes have to be so high.
Right.
And that's not the case. You just have to care about the characters.
Yeah, like their well-being.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to put it.
So I much prefer just the very simple, like, there can never be a part 2 of Chinatown.
Oh, absolutely not.
I love that.
Yeah.
So
story was
very concise. It's a concise story about one thing.
Yeah, like you watched it start, you watched it end. At the end, everything is like, I don't know. The end is just a little. A lot in the last like 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. It gets
comes
really
together.
fast. Yeah. But that's how all movies are. The whole movie is exposition. And then the last, sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes. It all comes together, and all of a sudden you understand why the movie was made.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite old movies, like especially the case, Breakfast at Tiffany's is my favorite example of this. I watched that. It might be 150 minutes. It might be 2.5 hours. It's probably 2 hours. 115 minutes of that movie. I was like, why am I watching it? What is this movie?
Yeah.
The last 5 minutes, good Lord, that was a great movie. Because you have to watch the whole thing to understand why you're watching it.
I've been meaning to watch that one.
It was a romance movie, not typically my type of movie. Loved it. Really solid movie, and you just do not understand why it's being made at all until the last 5 minutes.
Interesting.
That is an interesting concept.
That's cool. But getting back to like the ending, it's just so bizarre. Like you don't find out a whole lot, but like you never find out who killed Mulray, right?
Yeah.
Or was it Cross?
You assume it's Cross.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, fair. And then the person that least deserved to get shot got shot. You know.
Or does she deserve to get shot?
Why? Like why her? Like why did she go down? Like what? Like what did she do to deserve?
And then Jack Nicholson said it is possible, which I thought was a.
What did he mean by that?
Okay, so I
for the cop to
it's
or
the
for
thing.
the Cross to own everything.
Well, should we go into the theme of the movie that I've kind of like laid out in my head and how I've digested it?
That's right.
So the theme of the movie is that Chinatown is like I don't want to say a metaphor, it's not technically the right word, but it's like an allegory for Los Angeles. And it's a mixture of two things, and every character in the movie is a mixture of the two things, or they are one of two things. Bluntness, and I call it blunt realism in my review, and mythic abstraction. So the real and the fake, like two very distinct things. The police are blunt. They're a tool, they're an instrument, you can use them, they're very hard, but like you can't, they have no nuance in this movie. Like they're presented as like a very stereotypical movie police force. They don't really know anything. They just kind of do whatever the rich people tell them to do, what the powers that be tell them to do. But they're blunt. Evelyn is very mythic. She's abstract. You know nothing about her.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about her past. You don't know anything about her relationship with her husband, her father, her daughter, anything.
Yeah.
But you assume all these things about her because of what you do know. You have to fill in the blanks of your mind about everything you know about her. Same thing with Chinatown. Like the concept of China, you don't know anything about Chinatown.
Yeah.
It's just a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's all you know. And you don't like it's totally fill in the blank of what you would assume Chinatown would be like based on what you know about it. That the people that come from there like don't want to talk about it. And then at the end they return there. And then you have a couple characters that are combinations of the two. And they're the protagonist, the antagonist. You have J.J. Gittes, who is the mixture of blunt because he's a detective, he's a private eye, and he says things how it is. Like everything he says is like a threat, a promise, or like a lie. Like everything. He says very concise, straight to the point things.
That's interesting. I didn't really pick up on that.
But he's also very abstract. Like he's not a member of the police force. He's a private eye. He's available for hire. He does kind of whatever you give him money to do. He investigates. He's really outside the bounds of the law because he's with Evelyn, so like he has sex with her, his client, but he also like finds these crazy things out about Evelyn.
Like within an hour.
And
they were having sex, and then she's like, "All right, you're going to jail."
Yeah, and then he does all these crazy things, like putting himself in danger. Like he goes up to Cross at the end of the movie and says, "I figured out what you did," like all by himself.
Yeah.
And he'll go up on right in the final scene of the movie in Chinatown. He goes up on the street, and in front of him he goes, "This guy did it," and his goon's like standing right there, and he like puts himself in dangerous situations, about to get shot, and he gets captured by the police, and then he escapes the police. and he does stupid stuff all the time, just without abandon. And he's kind of mythic in that he's abstract. He's not real, you know. And but at the same time, he's very real because he's like the most real person in the movie. He does like the fight scene I already talked about. He is like larger than life in that. Like he wraps the guy's hand in the jacket.
Yeah, that
and he throws him to the ground so he can't see. And then the gun comes out, so he kicks the gun, and that's the second shot. And the third shot, Evelyn drives up, he gets in the car, and then ducks, and they just drive away. There's like a crazy 3-shot scene that looked totally real on how to evade like 14 people that were like running at him. Crazy scene. But that's how Gittes is. And then the same is true of the antagonist. The two.
Waterfalls.
Sure, I guess. The antagonist of the movie, Noah Cross, is also a combination of the two. He is blunt because he's rich and powerful, straight up. That's what he is. But he's also abstract because he is uniquely evil in the story. Like he is, at the end of the movie, you learn these things about him. Like, he's different than every other character in this movie. Like he ain't just corrupt. Like
he's gross.
Like
a freak.
It's way different. He's not just like a corrupt, rich old dude. Like that's not who this guy is. So you have to assume all these things about him.
Yeah.
Based on like the other relationships with these people in the movie.
Did he get capped? He get shot?
He did. It looked like he was
just in the arm. He was fine.
It looked like he was fine though. But so that what leads you to the final words of J.J. Gittes. He says it is possible, and meaning. I have to go back a little bit to the tide pools. The tide pool idea that good things come from tide pools. Good things come from the slums. Good things come from desperate people trying to make it better for themselves. And since J.J. Gittes comes from Chinatown, you can assume that he is someone like that.
Right.
So if J.J. Gittes is trying to make things better for himself, trying to make an honest living being a private detective after coming from Chinatown, someone else, Mulray, also believing that same thing from Noah Cross told him that's what he believed. Mulray has this idea that they can make L.A. a better place with like this water, you know.
Right.
And it's being diverted because of people like Noah Cross.
Yeah.
So the idea is that it's like a battle of two interests. The people like Mulray and Gittes versus people like Noah Cross who want to water the valley so that rich people can buy cheap land that doesn't grow anything, and then all of a sudden the land will be worth way more.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the battle, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And J.J. Gittes is under this impression that Noah Cross simply can't win. That J.J. Gittes has done so much good work that he has figured it out. He knows who's done what. He's way far more advanced than the police.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he slept with Evelyn Mulray, like he got it in the bag. Like he just feels very confident in this whole situation. Like even when he gets it wrong, like he thought he had it wrong with Evelyn, and then she's like, "Actually, you're wrong. That girl's my daughter." So then all of a sudden, like, "Oh crap, I'm wrong again." So when the police are coming, because he already called the police, he's like, "Oh, I still got it." He sends them away, and then he rides to the police. They try to arrest him, and then he just escapes with Polly.
Yeah.
Very young, but Polly.
Polly.
Yeah, but so he like again, he does brash things. He does very crazy things to get out of trouble. But he acts so confident that he has this all figured out that at the end of the movie, he's shocked. He can't.
Yeah.
How did he win?
Yeah.
How is it possible that Noah Cross won?
See, and that's the thing. Again, it wasn't the most interesting. You know, it dragged, but when that all comes together and like how you just brought all of that out of the movie, that's a really good movie.
Well, then there's one more piece to the puzzle. There's another line after that.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown. Like it's not important. The theme would be we've returned to the slums. Like we're back to where we started. So the idea is like you heard the I think it might be a Bible verse. Dust will return to dust.
I've heard that before, but I don't know if it's a Bible verse.
But I don't know, maybe. But the idea of that everything that started as one thing will eventually return to that one thing. I think it's a Bible verse because it's like God created man out of dust, and then you die and become dust again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But water will return to the ocean, like it does in the movie,
Yeah.
and Jake Gittes will return to Chinatown.
Wow.
So the idea is that everything will restart, but in that restarting, like the powerful remain powerful.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's both. It's possible, but also like, oh, it's unimportant. That's how it's always gonna be. It's like bad.
You're never gonna win.
You're never gonna win. Bad things always happen. Like you're never gonna defeat evil. Like sin will always remain in the world. So that's the theme. Like it's dust will return to dust. Like water will eventually return where it's supposed to go, to the ocean. Everything runs back to the ocean. Jake Gittes will return to Chinatown.
Yeah. That's interesting. It is really, really just like really grinds my gears that Cross got everything.
It's
Everything that he wanted
Yeah.
throughout the whole movie. He got the water where he wanted it to go.
Mhm.
He got his daughter / granddaughter, which is crazy to think about.
It is kind of a chilling like thing to watch when you like see her like take her away.
Like,
very
and
chilling.
like how are the cops letting this happen?
Well, they don't know anything.
They don't know.
They don't know what's going on.
That was wild.
Yeah, so it is wild, and I also thought it was interesting that in earlier part of the movie, like Gittes' business partners tell him like go after the guy that cut your nose. He's like, no, he's just someone who like works for money. I don't want him. I want the big guy.
Yeah.
So like he's going for Cross the whole time.
Yeah.
He doesn't want the little guy who just gets paid to do.
Who just says that.
Yeah,
Which
he
was
don't want that.
what a creative way to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Rip their nose off the body.
stick a blade in their nostril and just
Joker type vibe. Put it in your mouth.
yeah. Oh.
Jake is also very like hostile. He'll
Yeah.
see someone he doesn't know and just throw a shot at him for no
That's the other
reason.
thing I was going to bring up. So he's brash. When he goes to the orange farm, there's a bunch of farmers going at him with guns.
Mhm.
He's like, he gets beat up, and he
Yeah.
gets up, and he's like, well, forget y'all, those stupid farmers.
Yeah.
And he's like throwing insults around. What are you doing? He's like everything he says is a threat or a lie or like some promise that it'll hurt you. Like everything he says.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
Whenever he was trying to get Evelyn, like, tell me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
She's my sister. She's my daughter. Oh my gosh, I could not believe my eyes. I was like, wow, like this is. Anyway.
And that goes along with the mysteriousness of her. Like,
Yeah.
I thought she was lying. I thought she was like, I can't make up my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh.
Ugh. Yeah. And so another thing is like, what do the maids and like the people that are like working for her, like they know what's going on, you think?
It's possible.
And we're not thinking about how Maury like is hooking up with his wife's daughter / sister that is his business partner's.
No. I don't think he's hooking up with her. I think he's like, oh, she's partially my daughter.
They kiss each other
Okay. No, it's like a kiss on the cheek though, right?
in the rowboat, and then after they kissed. And I think,
Oh gosh.
let me try it.
I didn't pick up on this. There's anything bad going on there. But I didn't even like connect that at all. I just took,
Really?
No, if that was actually what's going on, that totally went over my head.
I didn't think they both were ancestral.
I think there was just one incestuous.
And I think Mulroy saw.
I thought it was all like a big like circle of just like gross.
Dude,
I think
don't know.
Mulray's kind of a victim there. Like I don't think he had anything.
Yeah, I think he just got dragged into it and he's like, wow, I feel so bad.
He's a good guy.
Well,
He's a good guy.
It's
Yeah.
a guy who has a terrible business partner and then gets himself more involved with his business partner by marrying his business partner's terrible daughter.
yeah, but I feel like a lot of that was, let me help you get out of this life.
Yeah, but like still
Well,
not the
I
greatest
don't know,
decision in the
because
world.
He had to have known how powerful Cross is. He had.
Yeah.
wait, who is Evelyn's mother?
I don't think they tell
I
us.
don't know.
I don't
Didn't
think
say
they tell us.
anything about it. Who knows? It's also very interesting how Cross referred to JJ, said that. Or wait, let me find my thoughts here. So he referred to the girl as, that's the only daughter I have left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't realize, I had no idea that that girl didn't know that she had like a dad or a grandfather. Mm-hmm. And so he comes up to the car, mm-hmm. and like this girl is in the car. It was right before Evelyn got shot. Mm-hmm. And another thing is that girl was like bawling, crying whenever she found out that Mulry was dying or died. Why? Why would that be? Because it's like, if it's just like a friend, it's just like a good friend, like my sister-in-law, my stepdaughter.
Well, I think
like
you're talking about Mulray and the younger girl.
And the younger
girl, like when she was freaking out and Evelyn had to leave right after they hooked up.
Yeah. And JJ's coming up and looking through the window.
So that's when Evelyn told her about Mulray dying, correct?
Yeah, but why would she react to that?
Well, we've already seen them together, right?
Yeah.
And it was assumed to be like in a sexual way, but we don't. After knowing what we know now, you said you might, but you think it's a sexual way?
If I think it is, that's what I thought the whole time.
So I assumed it was more like just he acted as a father to her because he seems like a nice guy.
That's what I thought.
At least not a father, at least just like a friendly person.
A father figure.
Again,
technically,
she doesn't really have a life. Like lives pretty secluded from everyone else. Because
where does she live? Also,
it seems she lives in a house, some random house,
just somewhere.
All right, so we're looking up. Did Mulray actually have an affair with his wife's daughter, Catherine? This guy says, I doubt it. Mulray seems like a decent enough man who would not want to join on Noah Cross's evil ways.
I've also got a question.
Yeah. So,
in the first time you meet, like, who you think is Mrs. Mulray, who do you meet? I don't even remember. Do you meet?
Ida Sessions.
Ida Sessions.
Why was she impersonating Miss Mulray?
She got paid by somebody to go in there and hire him as a private investigator, like basically setting up Mulray. I assume because of Cross. Like Cross set her up to it, or somebody, because there's nobody else that would do it.
Okay, and then she basically raps on whoever set her up and tells him I was a setup.
Yeah.
And then she gets killed for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and it's confirmed. Like, is it confirmed that Cross drowned Mulray in his backyard? Like, is that confirmed 100% or no?
I think so.
I guess it was his glasses, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Mulray's glasses.
No, Cross's glasses.
Cross's glasses.
What else?
Were we talking about Jack Nicholson's performance?
I watched a movie called Anger Management with Adam Sandler with him in it, and that was like the one thing I've ever seen him in that I was underwhelmed with.
That movie that he's in with Paul Rudd and Owen Wilson.
Oh, yeah, that one's terrible too.
He sucks in that.
What's that called?
Oh,
yeah, okay. You reviewed this recently. It was, How Do You Know?
Yeah, How Do You Know?
He's terrible in that, but that movie is not good by any stretch. But I think I liked it slightly more than both of y'all.
It was baseball.
You saw it, right? Not had nothing to do with baseball. It was just like the movie almost made sense to me. Like I almost understood what they were going for. But I totally agree. Bad movie.
Yeah, I thought it was cool that usually teams like will have to make up, or movies will have to make up a team.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that it was a real team and they're in their real uniform at a game.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
The other thing Jack Nicholson that I didn't give a good score to is rom-com, Something's Gotta Give. And I found the whole thing kind of creepy. Because it's like a very sexual movie, but everyone's old.
Interesting.
So Jack Nicholson's old. The lady in it is Diane Keaton. And Keanu Reeves is like the other love interest. Really? He's like 20.
Oh,
so
I want to talk about, speaking of Keanu Reeves, we can come back to Jack Nicholson if we want. But did you see that post about how he was homeless for a while, and he like
Yeah,
hates
he
all
came
of.
up from the bottom.
Did you
I
see
see
that?
it, no.
The story of his life is insane.
Yeah.
Like, he was born like in a terrible situation, and like lost both his parents and lost like his wife or something, or like his kid or something like insane. And yeah, like the story of his life is crazy. I think I saw a YouTube video.
I can't believe like it's all true.
What was his first big movie?
Probably not Point Break, right?
I don't think so.
I mean, his first movie chronologically is going to be
Devil's Advocate? No, he's kind of older than that. Devil's Advocate's an awesome movie.
He was born in '64, and when he was 20, he was in a movie called
64.
Hanging In.
64.
He was born in '64.
So he's 56.
That's crazy.
58. 59.
59.
Keanu Reeves?
59 years old.
That's wild. I would never, ever, ever guess that.
He was in a Coca-Cola ad in '84. He was in a TV show called Night Heat, where he played Thug Number 1. He was in a show called Letting Go, where he was Stereo Teen Number 1. He was on a comedy show, Comedy Factory TV show. I'm trying to get the first big movie here.
Alright, this post says he was abandoned by his father at 3 years old and grew up with 3 different stepfathers. He is dyslexic. His dream of being a hockey player was shattered by a serious accident.
I did hear he was like crazy good at hockey.
That's pretty cool.
His daughter died at birth. His wife died in a car accident. His best friend, River Phoenix, died of an overdose.
River Phoenix.
His sister
Walking
battled
Phoenix's-
leukemia. No bodyguards, no luxury house. Keanu lives in an ordinary apartment and likes wandering around the town and often seen riding subway in New York City. When he was filming the movie The Lake House, he overheard a conversation of 2 costume assistants, one crying as he would lose his house if he did not pay $20,000. On the same day, Keanu deposited the necessary amount into his bank account. In his career, he has donated large sums to hospital, including $75 million of his earnings from the Matrix series to charities.
That's awesome.
In 2010, on his birthday, he walked into a bakery and bought a brochet. Brochet? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Brochet? With a single candle, then ate it in front of the bakery and offered people coffee who stopped to talk to him. In 1997, some paparazzi found him walking one morning in the company of a homeless man in Los Angeles, listening to him and sharing his life for a few hours. Just a good guy overall.
I heard someone say, because an actor died recently, and I saw someone tweet that the actors that are universally loved are like starting to die off now.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves is like one of the last ones. And
Yeah.
who was it that died?
Chadwick?
Yeah, Chadwick Boseman
Yeah.
was one of them. But he's super young, of course. The other one, he's pretty recent. I don't know, but yeah, Keanu Reeves is on that list of like
For
who
sure.
dislikes Keanu Reeves.
Nobody. I
Um,
know. I mean, come on.
The first movie I've seen with Keanu Reeves was in '89, so he's 25, and it was Parenthood, which is on Netflix right now, I think. And it's Steve Martin, really like classic Steve Martin movie where like plays a dad, like Cheap by the Dozen basically, and Keanu Reeves plays like Steve Martin's niece's boyfriend. So it's like
Smaller.
he dates like a character in the movie, but he's like like a bad boy or whatever, and he like gets a terrible haircut in the movie, and he looks really weird. Yeah, it's an odd Keanu Reeves because River Phoenix is in that movie too.
Oh.
Wow, I never put that together. River Phoenix is in that movie as like the girl he's dating's younger brother. And it's an odd movie.
Is it a good movie though?
It's decent. It's pretty good.
How did he die? An overdose?
Yeah.
That
And
sucks, man.
Joaquin Phoenix's brother, yeah.
Brother?
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. So they were pretty well known for being like one of the earliest like very young actors that got involved in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And didn't go good for River. And then Joaquin Phoenix is kind of like seems like a pretty haunted guy.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about? I mean, I liked his Joker,
Yeah.
What do you think about Lady Gaga playing the next Harley Quinn?
No. I'm sure she'll be fine, but I'll never not see Margot Robbie as Joker. Or Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
It's just, I've seen Lady Gaga in one performance, probably?
Stars Born?
Yeah. And I was like,
Stars Born,
she's
House
fine.
of Gucci.
Yeah, I saw her in House of Gucci. And it's fine, just like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you
I
know?
wasn't impressed. But
Yeah.
I mean, Joaquin Phoenix Joker's fine.
Dude,
I just don't think that character should be touched for 50 years. It's
I don't think he's special at all. I don't think that his Joker is special at all.
It's just a fine movie.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It's
I
also-
would never say it's a bad movie. I'd say it's a good movie. It's just like, okay.
It's also a Taxi Driver remake, pretty
Yeah,
much,
I mean,
which
it
is really strange. And it's by Todd Phillips, who
It's
did
by
The
Todd-
Hangovers.
Todd Phillips only does comedies.
Yeah.
And Don't Look It Up. It's Todd Phillips, I think, too.
It's
That's
Adam
not right.
McKay.
Oh, Todd Phillips and Adam McKay to me are like the same person, though.
Yeah.
They make the same exact type of movies.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to rewatch Taxi Driver. I feel like I missed something the first time.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing where, and with Chinatown, it's just a really well made movie, and there's underlying themes that like you might not pick up on the first time around.
I think Taxi Driver is good. I think it's overhyped, though.
For sure.
Well,
Dude,
the biggest thing
hype
about
it up
that
as
is
like one of the
One of the
best.
best things ever.
Yeah, like it's one of the best things ever. I'm like, this story is mediocre. The acting's
What?
great. The colors are great. Like, there's cool shots, but like
What's
Jodie
crazy?
Foster, like that's so weird.
Yeah.
That's so fucking weird.
No, the thing about Taxi Driver is, one, that there's never been like this going down the path of this one person that's crazy. Like there's been violence, but there's no violence like that before.
Yeah.
And the Mohawk was
It has aged really well.
Yeah.
Is what it's done.
no one knew what the Mohawk was back then.
No, and
Other
it's,
than like
not only did it like it was very innovative at the time, but like it has kind of like the American Psycho Patrick Bateman like meme. Like it was a meme before meme existed. It represents something that like people morphed into.
That's what I've
Like
seen.
it aged really well because now people are obsessed with like people going insane and then doing violent things. Like people are obsessed with that nowadays. And back then it wasn't the case.
yeah.
So it's aged really well.
Yeah. I agree.
Um,
I agree.
But like if that was made today, it would not be anything special. I don't think. What made it special is that it kind of like shocked people.
Right.
Was that Raging Bull is 80, right?
I think Taxi Driver's 76 or 77.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Raging Bull. I never got around.
Yeah, same with me. It's just,
Especially being a Rocky fan and
yeah,
it's De Niro, right? And a De Niro fan, so
and Scorsese.
yeah, I mean, I should be a fan.
Yeah,
So
Yeah. Yeah. And I really thought that Scorsese was going to get an Oscar. I really thought he was going to get one. I don't think he did. For The Fablemans? I don't think so.
that was Spielberg.
Spielberg. Dude, wow, what a fuck up. That hurts.
Yeah.
I saw a Scorsese movie recently that was like his an oddball, Silence.
Oh, I've been
Andrew
wanting,
Garfield
and Adam Driver.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to watch that because I really like Adam Driver.
It's a weird.
I want to
movie.
watch The Color of Money. About shooting pool. Have you seen it?
It's a little overrated.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like everyone who loves that movie is just such a pool player.
Yeah.
And they love it because it's a pool movie, and that's like that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's cool and everything, but like it's okay. It really, I was like so underwhelmed by the whole thing. Because it's Tom Cruise and Cool Hand Luke. What's his face? Name is slipping my mind right now. Come on now. One of those famous actors of all time. Why is his name slipping my mind?
Clint Eastwood.
No, but like basically the same thing. Come on, I look like a dummy.
Mel Gibson.
Cool Hand Luke.
James Dean.
Paul Newman.
Oh, Paul Newman.
His name was like slipping my brain for some reason. Paul Newman and Tom Cruise. Paul Newman's like the old guy.
Right.
Tom Cruise is young and cocky, and I don't know. It's just very simple of a story to be kind of legendary.
Dude, I've not seen that many Tom Cruise movies. I've seen the Top Guns, but I think that's about it.
Top Guns are
You've
pretty
never seen any
fun.
Mission Impossibles?
Nope.
I've seen one, but
I've seen whatever one that he's coming down from the ceiling and there's laser beams on the floor.
I thought that was like everyone.
That's one.
That's the first one?
I've only seen one, but yeah, that was in one.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Tom Cruise. I've seen Eyes Wide Shut. Y'all need to see that.
That's a sex movie.
Eyes Wide Shut is crazy.
You've seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Thunder.
That's like one of my hot movie takes. I do not like Tropic Thunder.
Why
I
don't you like
like
it?
Robert De Niro's performance. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Everything else is not funny.
You don't think any of that's funny?
I don't think Tom Cruise is funny. I don't think Matthew McConaughey's funny in that. I don't think Ben Stiller's ever been funny in his life.
That's
What?
I don't think Ben
that's
Stiller's
just
funny.
crazy.
It's just
Really?
I don't think he's funny.
Wait, and I've
Fair enough.
seen.
Jerry Maguire. How about that?
No.
How about Rain Man?
Oh, I guess he's in Austin Powers.
I've seen Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher's awesome.
How about The Outsiders?
Yeah, I've seen The Outsiders.
Not in recent time.
How about A Few Good Men with Jack Nicholson?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that at some
Good
point.
movie.
Stone really liked Cocktail. Did he ever talk to you about that?
Cocktail I've heard is weird. I've heard it's an odd movie.
He liked that movie.
What's the other?
No, that was Malik. Malik's was in his top 4 of all time.
I think he showed it to him.
Go down a little bit. There's like a spy one.
How about
maybe
Risky
like
Business? Risky Business is crazy.
Wait, isn't that a sex movie too?
Yes, I watched it. I thought it was like Ferris Bueller. It was like, oh, it's Tom Cruise dancing to I Love That Old Time Rock and Roll. Like, that's the scene that everybody remembers. I was like, this is a sex movie?
Yeah.
That is crazy. You seen Vanilla Sky?
No, my dad says to watch that though.
Vanilla Sky is nutty in a bad way.
What's the premise?
It's like, I don't want to say anything because it like low-key spoil it, but like not really because you figured it out pretty early. But like the whole thing has to do with like dreams and like what's real and what's not. It's weird. Very weird.
Collateral too.
Oh, Minority Report. That movie's awesome. You seen that before?
No.
Oh my gosh, that movie's so much fun.
Is it like a spy movie?
Yeah, it's really really.
How
cool.
about Oblivion? I've not seen it. But
I haven't seen it.
Tom Cruise.
Have you seen what's that Jake Gyllenhaal movie? They're on the train. Oh my gosh.
They don't train.
Yeah. Morse code. No, that's not it.
I don't think
I don't know. It'll come to me. Anyway, it's similar to that. Yeah.
Well, should we wrap it up?
I think Chinatown was an excellent choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sparked a really good conversation. Nate, you freaking carried.
Carried for sure.
That was amazing.
That's what I do, bro.
That's what I want whenever I.
You know how I do it.
And if we didn't have any camera troubles, who knows what would have come out of it.
I have, like, my list of movies that I want to discuss on this podcast is, like, movies I can talk like that about.
Yeah. Well, I love it. That's why I love how we're each picking one because, you know, the ones that I pick, you know, are going to be different than what JC picks. And
yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a good little concept we got going on here.
Yeah, I think so too. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to announce the next movie, honestly. Because I have a list, and I think it's about...
I'm going to make sure we're still recording.
15 movies. That is my list. But the problem is that some of the movies... should I keep talking?
Yeah, you're good.
Some of the movies are there's one on here that's 3.5 hours. We can't watch that right now. Like, we're too busy. And some of them, like, are just like, I don't know if we're ready yet.
I know. I like that.
And some of them are like, that might be a little too slow. We might need like a certain week to do that.
Yeah.
But this one I think is the right time. It's the right time. It's the right season. It is not too long. It is getting close to a time of year where this is the most appropriate movie in my opinion.
Wow.
I think it's the greatest Father's Day movie of all time. It's my dad's favorite movie. It's one of the very few movies I have ever cried at. Very, very few movies that I cry at. This is one of them.
You're hyping this up.
I've been wanting to watch this again. I've watched it probably 4 or 5 times already. I've been wanting to watch it again recently. I haven't watched it for about maybe 9 months to a year. I watch it pretty much every year.
Drop it.
Whenever it's on TV, my dad turns it on. Field of Dreams.
Okay.
We talk about sports movie?
Yep, I like that.
Sports movie time.
This time.
I think it's a perfect Father's Day movie. I'll explain why. I can write a dang essay on it. I'll probably have one prepared by next podcast. So Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right.
Good stuff.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams next week. Be ready for it. All right.